you ever heard of a certain Winifred? Yes, here she is now, not serving only Rukunjiri, but serving the whole country as the National Program Coordinator of Joint Program for Youth Livelihood and Uganda Women Entrepreneurship. Do we have women here? Yes, sir. Hello? Yes, sir. Women, where are you? Yes, sir. I can't hear your voices. Yes, sir. Excellent. Hey, women, oh, eh? Then we have Mr. Isaac Mugume, who is a specialist in M&E. And certainly by the time we leave here, he will have evaluated whether we have picked something or whether we are only enjoying and clapping our hands. So be more careful this time so that the image he takes and the image he prints is the image that will raise us up. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Mr. Kaseja. Please take us on through this program of yours. Oh, use the... Yeah, we... It is on. You can always expand. Okay.
We have to use this one. Let me just pick this.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we have already been introduced. My name is Stephen Kasaija. I work with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Previously, I was in charge of planning, but now I head the Program Management Unit for Expanding Social Protection Program. And we have already been introduced. Winnie Masiko heads the National Program on Youth Livelihood Program and WEP. And Isaac Mugumya has been introduced as M&E specialist and a new program called GROW. I don't know whether our presentation is yet. Are you able to see it there? Yes, sir. Okay, so it is on. Now, our presentation is going to be brief. We are going to give you our progress, our performance as far as manifesto implementation is concerned in the 3 areas. One is on GROW, which is a new program supporting women enterprises. And Mr. Isaac Mugumya, as we present, will give more explanations on what we are doing, what we are achieving, how we are performing. Then Winnie will come in also to share with you about YLP and the WEP program. WEP is a Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Program, and then YLP is Youth Livelihood Program. Then I will wrap up with SAGE. SAGE is what I think people know, is a senior citizen grant, where they were asking you how many people qualify for that, and I think many of you are still young, so you can't get that, where we give grants to all the people who are 80 years and above. No, I don't think it. Okay, so our presentation will be, I will share briefly an introduction about what our presentation is all about, our background as a ministry, our mandate, our functions and our strategic direction, and then point out what are the key manifesto commitments which the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is charged with. And then after that, we go into the detailed performance, share the performance challenges we have had, and then our way forward. This thing seems is running ahead of me. I can take it back. Yes. So from there now, allow me to share with you what our mandate is about. Our mandate is greatly about protecting the people, people's rights, promoting the rights of vulnerable populations, addressing gender inequalities, ensuring that we have cultural growth, labor and employment, and also as well as community mobilization and empowerment. Our mission is promoting decent employment, protection of the rights of and empowering the vulnerable and marginalized groups for equitable gender responsive development. Then the main target groups which we have are the children. We are a ministry for the people. Just from children, youth, women, working age population, older persons, persons with disability, talk of ethnic minorities, that is all our mandate, and we are responsible for addressing all those issues. And for that matter, we are a very big ministry. You can see we have 10 departments, we have 6 ministers who run all this mandate, and we have 1 autonomous institution, the Equal Opportunities Commission, and we have 5 semi-autonomous institutions for the different groups, including the youth, the women, we are having persons with disability, the older persons, and we have an industrial court which will handle workers' issues. Allow me also to share with you that in terms of mandate, in the NRM manifesto, we can say as a ministry we contribute to ensuring justice and equity as our priority, focusing on affirmative action for these special groups which I have already highlighted. The ministry also contributes to creating jobs and wealth creation for all Ugandans. So specifically, the key areas which we handle or where the commitments are clear is the issue of representation of formerly marginalized groups in decision making at different levels. And many of you know that government has done a lot to make sure that many of these special interest groups have been catered for, be it in parliament, be it in programming, that has been taken on. The second area is increasing budgets for youth, women, persons with disability, and elderly councils. And those ones I think are already now in place, and a lot of work is happening under them. Then support to operational wealth creation. We have a role there since most of our target groups are the beneficiaries of those programs. Then the other commitment was continuing with the SAGE, that's the Senior Citizen Grant, and considering lowering the age of beneficiaries from 8 years so that maybe we could get more beneficiaries even in this room. The other commitment is about supporting vulnerable persons with disabilities to enable them to lead a dignified basic life. And the other area was strengthening the juvenile justice system. And then lastly, we had continuing with the youth livelihood program and the WEP program. Those are the commitments which as a ministry we have been trying to address. So you will allow me now that at this stage we go in to share the details of the performance of the various interventions which are very key, and that's what we are asked to come and highlight, give you the progress we have made, what are the challenges we are facing, and what is the role you leaders play in implementation of these programs. I think that will be of interest to us. So I will ask Isaac to take on from there, and then Win will follow, and I will come and wrap up.
Thank you, team leader. Yeah, once again, my names are Isaac Mugume. I work as M&E specialist for GROW project. I'm here for the project coordinator for GROW, and I'll be sharing with you the progress under GROW project. Now, GROW project, in full, it stands for Generating Growth Opportunities and Productivity for Women Enterprises. This is a new project that is funded by the World Bank to a tune of 217 million, of which 40 million is for the refugees and host communities. It's being implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and also Private Sector Foundation Uganda. The target area, we are implementing this project in all the districts, municipalities, and also all the cities. The beneficiaries, we have women entrepreneurs as individuals, also female-owned enterprises, where women have majority shareholding. The project started in 2023, and it will be closing in 2027. The objective is to increase access to entrepreneurial services that enable female entrepreneurs to grow their enterprises. The issue here is about growth. How do we support these women entrepreneurs to grow their businesses from micro to small and from small to medium enterprises? The beneficiaries, I've already highlighted them. Women-owned enterprises where they have at least 51% shares, and those that operate as micro or small enterprises with annual turnover not exceeding 100 million. Those are the beneficiaries. They could be also individuals, and they must operate in growth sectors identified in the NDP3, namely agriculture and value addition, manufacturing, science and technology, creative arts, and ICT. So those are some of the sectors that we focus on. Those are some of the outcomes. We want to see the transition. The women entrepreneurs that we support, want to see them transition from micro to small, and also from small to medium enterprises. We have targets. We are looking at job creation. Those are the targets that we are looking at in terms of job creation, and the beneficiaries that we are looking at in terms of numbers, and we are looking at 1.6 million indirect beneficiaries and about 280,000 direct beneficiaries who are mainly women and their employees. Now, the project design was informed by various studies, and some of the issues that we found out that wanted to sure under the project were issues related to inadequate business management skills, lack of affordable capital, limited access to common use manufacturing and value addition facilities, and also negative social norms that affect participation of women in business. So the project came in to respond to these constraints, and we are providing an integrated package of services to help women entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. And this includes financial services and non-financial services. And allow me to take you direct to one of our financial services, which is the Grow Loan, as one of the services that we offer under this project. This Grow Loan was launched in August 2024 by Her Excellency Major Jessica Alupo, and this loan is being disbursed through 6 commercial banks, which is the Centenary Bank, Finance Trust Bank, Post Bank, DFCU Bank, Equity Bank, and Stanbic Bank. And this loan ranges between 4 million and 200 million at an interest rate of 10% per annum, and the loan period ranges up to 24 months. So for these 2 years, 2024, 2025, and 25-26, we have 120 billion for disbursement to the 6 banks. Sorry, I'm still on that slide, much as I'm adding more information there. The interest rate is 10% maximum per annum. And we have about 120 billion for the 2 years, and we intend to reach about 5,700 borrowers in these 2 years. And as at end of December, we had reached about 2,175 beneficiaries, with a total of 50 billion disbursed to those beneficiaries in the different districts and cities. And that's the distribution, where we have about 1,629 receiving about microloans, 284 receiving loans in the level 2, and 12% receiving in the range of 40 to 200 million. That's the distribution by sector. You can see under trade and commerce, agriculture and agribusiness. So that's the distribution. This information will be shared with you. Will be left with the Secretariat to give to you. We also give you the loan beneficiaries per district, and we'll share with you this. You'll be able to see how your district is performing, and this is the information that we'll be sharing with you to enable you monitor these beneficiaries. We're in discussion with the banks to ensure that we're able to share even the names of these people, and we're able to track and see how many beneficiaries are in your district, and you're able to follow up closely. All this is about the beneficiaries. We have it in this presentation. And also, there was a complaint about equitable distribution, but we are guided in the cabinet in October 2024. We have now made specific allocations to the different regions, and this is going to guide us as we move forward, to implement GROW project. We also have other project services. We are going to share this information with you. Can you use this?
Hello, Kos? Kos? If you have a concern, you put up your hand. You don't simply make noise. All right? Secondly, just a moment. Hello. Secondly, we have very little time. It is important that we give him a chance. In the meantime, before he proceeds, I want to request you to first stand up. Let's first stand up. Let's first stand up. Hello? Kos? Let's first stand up, because I can see some who are a little unable to stand. But you know, being adults, if we overseat, we may develop some blood clots, and it is important. So you can roll around like this. You can raise your hands. Please put up your hands and then down. Put up your hands and call the stars. Okay, okay. Please sit down. Proceed, sir.
So, members, I think we can spend more time on this, as per guidance now, because we have all this information. I think let's have order, members. Let's have order. Let's have order so that we can move fast. We have the beneficiaries per region. This information is available. Each district, I don't know how we can go because we can't read each district really, but I can go slowly. Now this is Acholi. This is Ankole region. You can see in Acholi region, we have so far, by end of December, we had reached 82 beneficiaries. And that's the money they had received. We have all these details. Ankole, we had reached 185 beneficiaries, and that's the money you are seeing there. Then Arua, these are according to sub-regions. Actually, we have 19 sub-regions that we agreed with management. That's how we'll be now allocating resources and also tracking them. You can see under that, the district falling under that sub-region, you can see they had received 21 people had received their loans under that. Under Bugisu, we have 89. Bukedi, we had 35. Is that Bukedi? Yes. Bunyoro, we had 69 in total. Busoga, 19. Karamoja, Kigezi, 58. And also Lango, we had 24. Greater Ruwero, 34. Greater Masaka, 210. Kampala alone, we had 533. That is Kampala. Greater Kampala Metropolitan. Members, let's first accept what is here and we'll explain to you why we are doing this and the way forward. I think the way forward will sort out your issues. Then Greater Muwende, performance is like that. Then Rwenzori, 35. Sebei, 12 beneficiaries. Teso, 37 beneficiaries. Toro region, sub-region, 114, giving us a total of 2,175 beneficiaries, receiving about 50.2 billion. So this is this is as at end of December. We'll be giving you more updates because we are getting our quarter reports end of March from the participating financial institutions, and we'll be updating these numbers, but also moving forward to cure all these imbalances. We have made now allocations to the different sub-regions, altogether members, so that there is equitable distribution. And this is based on the number of women entrepreneurs in a particular region. This is data that we've gotten from UBOS, and it is now guiding us to allocate the resources. We have discussed with the commercial banks that this is now how you should allocate these resources, and now we are going to have equitable distribution across the country. That is what we can assure you, and this is something that has been discussed, and that is how we are moving forward. So each sub-region has been allocated a certain amount of money, and this is how we are going to keep tracking those monies according to the sub-regions. Now, allow me to take you to the other group products and services that we have. We have business grants. Apart from the loan, we have business grants, which range between 7 million and 110 million, and these will be awarded through business competitions. We are going to announce a business competition in May 2025, and this is for women who are doing micro and small enterprises, but are supporting job creation, that are innovative, but are also in male-dominated sectors. So they're going to compete in a transparent selection process, and they'll compete and be able to get this money. We have a target of around 3,500 beneficiaries under this, and we are going to be, we have a management firm that is going to take people through a competition and be able to award to the best, the best enterprise that will go through in that competition. We're also doing trade or sector-specific skilling, which is being done in sectors like agriculture, tourism, catering and trade and others. And here we've moved some slide. We have over 4,000 women that have been trained, and this is mainly in the refugee host districts. This was handled by PSFU. As I told you, we are working with PSFU in this, and this were we have MOUs with URI, Dairy Development Authority. We're also finalizing MOUs with the Uganda National Bureau of Standards and also URSB to support more women entrepreneurs, and all this will be funded by the GROW project. We also have entrepreneurship training for women entrepreneurs. This is being advertised right now, and we are going to be taking women through basic essential skills training that can help them grow their businesses from one level to another. Then we also have apprenticeship program where women entrepreneurs and their employees will gain hands-on skills from experienced establishments such as restaurants, hotels, bakeries, salons, and other factories. And we have so far selected 35 host enterprises in our first round. And we currently, and we announced these opportunities. People are applying. We are in touch with the focal point persons at each of the districts. We are mobilizing women entrepreneurs to apply for this. They can apply online. They can also apply using hard paper, which can be accessed from the district. And by giving this information, we also hope that you can help us mobilize these women entrepreneurs to participate in some of these programs. We also have common user facilities, which are being planned to help women entrepreneurs access production facilities and value addition facilities without really spending a lot of money. We have MOUs with Makerere University Food Science, Food Technology and Business Incubation Center, where we are supporting them in food processing services, and women can go there and access these services at a small fee, so they don't have to engage, they don't have to buy a lot of equipment. And we also have another MOU with Kawanda Agricultural Research Laboratories, and these facilities will support value addition. We also have infrastructure grants, which ran in papers, and these grants will range between 275 million to 1.4 billion. These, I think we have extended these applications up to 2nd April, and most of the districts have applied for these, and also cooperatives, NGOs, and local governments, and these will help them to acquire common user facilities that can help women access value addition equipment. Now, there were concerns, especially on the GROW loan, on eligibility concerns. At first, people, I think, didn't get right information. People thought GROW project was for every woman, but I think the clarification that we've been making is that GROW is for women entrepreneurs, people who are already doing something, people who have graduated from PDM, from Emyoga. Now they can be able to access GROW funds and also GROW services, and they're able to use that money and use those skills to grow their enterprises from one level to another. So this one we have clarified, and we're engaging stakeholders like you, district officials, and the media to clarify this. Then there was also another issue on collateral requirements. there was a thinking that maybe the collateral was not necessary, but what we are saying, collateral is very necessary if you are to secure these funds, because we want these funds to be there even after GROW has ended, to turn it into a revolving fund where women can access credit at affordable rates. 10%, you can hear it's a very affordable rate, and that's why you are seeing a lot of competition for these resources. Then we can see how we create a revolving fund at the end of the project. Also bring on board microfinance institutions and circles to ensure that lending is extended to more women entrepreneurs. Then there was also another issue on funds exhaustion and depletion. Yes, there's time when the funds are depleted in the different banks. But what we go through a process of due diligence, verification. We have a firm on board that after the money has been disbursed to these banks and they have lent it to women entrepreneurs, we have a firm called KPMG that does due diligence to see whether the funds went to the right people. Then after that, more money is disbursed to these banks. So sometimes there is a lag of 2 weeks, 1 month when the banks don't have money, but we usually go back and disburse funds to these banks to enable them continue disbursing funds to the women entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for listening to me. I now hand over to my Honorable Masiko. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I used to be that side many times, but now I'm here. I'm hired by the ministry. I was hired by the ministry to work on the Women Entrepreneurship Program. However, now I'm on the joint one. So, I'm using this. Oh no. You better come and guide me. How come it's not? This other. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to make a presentation on Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program and Youth Livelihood. Because of time, we shall quickly go through, but we hope you are writing questions at the end. You'll ask us in case. So these are two flagship programs that were established in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in 2014-15 and then 15-16 for YRP, UWEP respectively. However, due to the policy shift of government and promoting equity and more resources to reach out, parish development model was created. So when it was created, these programs were merged. They said they should remain as merged programs. So they work on a revolving basis fund. I hope you all know they're community demand driven. They support groups of 5 to 15, and in the case of YRP, 30% has to be women, female. The maximum loan we give, a revolving fund, is 12.5, but if the program is very innovative, sorry for that error, it's very innovative, it goes to 25 million. So, what is the background? I think that one quickly, I've talked about it. There was a cabinet directive when they merged the program that we should stay as programs, but use the money we recover. That's the condition we have. So, ministries allocated money, and we have this merged program, and then we have a small technical support unit at the ministry, but most of the work is done at local level, at local government. About UWEP, I've already said it was established in 2016, and it was to address the challenges of limited access to affordable credit, lack of technical business skills, and restricted market access. And it is implemented by existing local governments, both at national and local level. The mobilization, the selection, the project appraisals, monitoring, and funds recovery is done by local governments. And the ministry just provides technical guidance, capacity building, and overall coordination. So it is, you don't need any money collateral for this. The loans are paid, if the loan period is 3 years. So if you pay in the first year, you just pay, you don't pay any interest. But there is a service fee of 5% in the second year and third year of the loan repayment. So the objectives quickly for the youth, to empower target youth to enhance their socio-economic potential and increase self-employment opportunities and income levels. And specifically, YLP is to provide marketable vocational skills, toolkits for self-employment and job creation, provide financial support to enable the youth establish income-generating activities, provide the youth with entrepreneurship and life skills in an integral manner, and provide youth relevant knowledge for positive mindset change. And for YLP, it was to empower women to improve their income levels and their contribution in economic development, specifically strengthen the capacity of women, provide credit, access to market, appropriate technologies. But you realize because of the limited money that was dispersed to these programs, most of these objectives were not met. The most popular objective that was met was the credit part, which I think has been very, you are all very conversant with it. So, as I already said, there is zero payment, there is no physical collateral required. It is flexible payment. Within 3 years, you pay as and when your program matures. We can support both existing and new groups. Formal registration is no precondition as long as they are known at the community level. Usually, we can reschedule the payments if there is a natural calamity, but there is no writing off of these loans. The payments are made in local government recovery accounts and thereafter transferred to Bank of Uganda. So, what is the performance at a glance for this financial year, for this manifesto period? That's what we were asked to do. So under YLP, the total 21,188,776,989 was disbursed to fund 2,835 projects. The initiative benefited 18,710 youth, with 9,397 male, 9,313 female, showing nearly gender equality in that beneficiary line. Then under OEP, we disbursed 43,701,311 to fund 6,215 projects benefiting 50,981 women. And for recoveries, and this is an area where I think we all need to know and know that we are going to work together. Because these programs now, for us, we depend on recovery. If there's no recovery, there's no disbursement. So the recovery we have is a 16 billion for OEP, and for YLP it is still at 3.7, nearly like 24%, which is really I think that's the sure way of killing the program if people don't recover. So those are some of the pictures that are there, and I think you look at them later because of time. So now I'm sure you're all interested in the beneficiary per region. I must state right from the beginning, this is a demand-driven. We are not going to say they used PDM to cure that, because originally you would find some regions with no money because they were not requesting for it. So for us, we depend on demand. If the demand is there, and now worse still, we depend on recovery. So there are some districts which are going to be phased out soon because they are not recovering, and we cannot revolve what you have not recovered. So the moment that is what is for Central, as far as YRP is concerned. Then we have also, we have the East, you can see the Eastern in the financial year 2024-2025, we are halfway. This is up to December, so we know it is going to be more at the end. Many times, which I think an issue you need to all help us in, districts don't request for money in the first quarter, second quarter. They wait for the third. What still others bring in the fourth quarter. And that means sometimes the processing is not over, so we are not able to disburse funds. So that is what is there. But in financial year 23-24, we have the 10 billion which was disbursed. Then for 2022, that is the 8 billion. And then 2020, 2021 to 21, that was the 6 billion. So for UWEP, 2021, we disbursed 20 billion. I think this is where most of you have an interest per region. Then 2022, 2023, it was 10, depending on what we have. Then 2020, have I changed to 2023, 24? Yeah, maybe we can go back in case, so that you see how your regions are performing. So now, what are the challenges that we are facing? We have several challenges. The poor budget performance, of course, inadequate release of budget and budget cuts. Of course, when they cut the budgets, we are also affected. So usually, it affects especially the money for monitoring. This program was designed in such a way that when we get money from government, 80% has to go to local governments, to the groups. Directly, we pay women groups or youth groups. 20% is shared by the national and local government. And local government needs to monitor, to train, to do technical backstopping as much as the national. So usually when the budget cut when there's a budget cut, the percentage also goes down and it affects the performance, especially the recovery efforts. Then we have also had natural calamities like COVID-19. I'm sure all of you, if you are aware of anyone who has benefited from this, we got a lot of issues. During COVID-19, most of the youth and women programs were affected greatly. And it has been difficult for them to pay back, but we're putting measures to make sure that they pay back. Then there is also another issue which I think affects, also sometimes touches the team that is here. The negative political statements. We've had people, especially some RDCs, I must confess, who tell people that this is President Museveni's casino. That this is money. Yes, we have statements. I will reproduce every evidence. We've had people in the districts, even the politicians say that you are not paying back this money. And the moment that comes out, the repayment is hampered. So it must be a Sunday issue, but we've had. If you have not done it yourself, somebody else has done it. And therefore, the negative political statements are killing these programs. Also, there is inadequate funds for operations, of course, for field support to go and monitor. We would have loved to involve everyone in the district to handle this, but the money is usually limited. There is also inadequate guidance and support. This one, I say, you find somebody who is a leader in a district at a level of chairman, COW, RDC, deputy RDC, political mobilizer, does not know these programs. And sincerely, you go there and ask, if you are a leader, why don't you find out what is in your district? So I must confess that we are having those challenges of leaders who are not very effective. I want to give you an example. If we had more time, we have a district like Shema. Shema is going to get awards all through and through. Why? Their recovery rates are very high. Yes, I can see some people from Shema. Their recovery rates under YLP, under UWEP, it is usually above 100%. And the reason why they are performing, when we went to do research, we discovered that for them, the RDC, the chairman, LC5, the COW, the focal point, community development officers work together. They are on this program, they focus their eyes on it, and they work together. So their performance is way above. But if you go to other districts, which I have not mentioned here, for the sake of not attracting a lot of wrath from you, there are those who are below. There is a district under YLP which is at 0%. And really, this is really a shame to anyone to belong to a district where government programs are not cared for. So what is the way forward? Means of, we are trying to work with partners to help us fill in other objectives that we have not achieved. For instance, we have tried to work with the GIZ to help us and other programs. We are trying to reschedule. We are continuing advocacy and mobilization. And for me, I would like to appreciate this time round because it is also part of advocacy for us, to tell you what is happening, the struggles we are going through, and ask you to assist us in that regard. So we are also involving women councils to integrate the monitoring. So I am very aware of the time. That is the synopsis of this program and its performance. So we are here. If you have noted your question, please write it. We are available to attend. Thank you very much, and maybe my colleague can also come in to do the next round.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hope. Now, I have been observing, and it looks there is serious demand from these people to have the data projected for each district. And that's why at one point you saw them a little bit jittery, I think. So I'd like to suggest, no, these days we are going high tech. I don't want us to be evaluated as people who don't know how to use technology. However, I would like to make a request before these people come in with questions, that we project the data for the districts for a short while so that each of these districts can see what is happening in their own districts. So kindly, just run the data quietly, a second as you roll, and our members here can see for their own districts and even be able to compare with the other districts that are performing well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think due to public demand, we can run back to the figures which Madam Winnie has been running. I think you can see them slowly there. Oh, these were region. Oh, okay. All right, I think the districts ones are coming in the next presentation. They will come in the next presentation. So let us share progress on implementation of Senior Citizen Grant, or SAGE. And you'll allow me, I think, let me read from here. This is a program of government which was initiated with volunteer partners in 2010. That's when it started. And the target is 80 years and above, as I mentioned. But the pilot, 2010, was targeting 60 years and 65 years and above. Now, one to benefit must possess a national ID. So our older persons have to have a national ID to identify that they are Ugandans who are eligible to benefit. And they receive 25,000 shillings every month, but we pay it quarterly, so they get 75,000 per 3 months. Payments are delivered through a payment service provider. We have hired Centenary Bank, currently is the one. Previously we were having Post Bank paying this money. The program is mainstreamed through our government systems up to the parish level. And I believe some of you in the districts must be interacting with this program. Core functions of local governments include mobilizing the people, for instance, to come for registration, enrollment, and payments. Then you also help in monitoring the payments, monitoring the beneficiaries. Major issue is about death reporting, and we rely also on those systems of local government to report. If an older person has passed on, they can be removed and another one is brought on. Complaints management, leaders have a lot of this. An older person you find has missed the money, they didn't get information. They are 85 years, yet they were supposed to start getting at 80, but all the 5 years they have missed the money. So mobilization is, and complaints management is an issue. Now, this program, I've already told you, started in 2010 as a pilot in 15 districts, and those districts are still on, benefiting. It was expanded to 40 additional districts between 2011 and 2015. By 2018, we got a national rollout. That's when government declared that this program should be national. That's when we raised the age to 80 years and above. And in 2022, all our development partners left. So as we talk now, this is a 100% government of Uganda funded program. And the purpose, as we have said, is to build the resilience of older persons to address risks and vulnerabilities. I believe in the societies we live, we all know that these older persons sometimes are vulnerable. Some have fallen sick, they have no money even to buy some medicine or to be transported to a health center. So when they receive this money, we have seen, as you will see, our experience and impacts, people are improving on their health uptake. They can reach hospitals. Some keep children, small, vulnerable orphans. They can now support them, buy a book, buy a uniform, and the child goes to school. We have seen that in our evaluation studies. Now, what have we disbursed so far? Since the program started up to now, we have spent about 656 billion shillings. Between this manifesto period, 2021 up to now, we have spent 355 billion shillings in beneficiary payments. And over 439,000 older persons have benefited cumulatively over time in this program. And the current active members, we are talking of about 302, but they keep changing. Sometimes they go 305, just like that. You can see 60% of the people who are benefiting are women. They are female. Now, let us run through the benefits and how people have benefited by region, by district. You can see the information there. We asked about Lango sub-region in the northern region. You can see the districts there. In total, the region got 28,338 beneficiaries, and we have spent over, in the manifesto period, 30 billion shillings in that region. And per district, you can see the figures, the number of beneficiaries, and how much. If you see one with a bigger one like Kole, 6,000 beneficiaries, those were in the pilot. They started with a pilot, and the pilot were targeting people who are 65 years and above. So that's why their numbers appear to be higher. Now, for Acholi sub-region, you can see the districts, we have about 10,852 people benefiting, and the over 11 billion shillings were spent during this manifesto period. And you can see there, actually the numbers look small. They didn't participate. That's the time of Kony when the program started. So they didn't start in the program. They don't have any pilot districts. So that's why you can see they came in later, 2018, most of the districts. That's why the numbers are small and the amount of money maybe spent in that area looks small. Northern region again in West Nile, you can see we have about 31,000 beneficiaries and over 33 billion spent. You have bigger districts like Nebi, those were in the pilot. And you can see also Yumbe was part of the pilot, and Pakwach. So those have higher numbers. Others which came later in 2018, they have lower, but they continue earning those resources. Busoga sub-region, you can see over 28,000 people, over 30 billion spent, and they didn't have a major pilot. All those were new entrants. Am I moving fast? Yeah? So, yeah. All right. Okay, Bukedi sub-region, you can see we have over 19,300 beneficiaries and over 20 billion has been spent. And in that region also, I think we don't have any original district in the pilot. So all are new. Tororo has a very big number. Is there another DC from Tororo? Yes, we have had issues there of recent. So I think you have helped us to intervene, and that's an issue. But you have a good number of beneficiaries. Bugisu sub-region, we have about 14,400 beneficiaries, over 15 billion being paid. And in that region also, we didn't have a pilot. That's why the numbers are still small. And that's why you're having a lot of cry in those regions that we should lower the age so that you can get more people benefit from the program. Sebe, that's Kapchorwa, is also small. We have only 2,900 beneficiaries, and the amount spent so far is about 3.2 billion. They are all new, they were not in the pilot. Karamoja sub-region, this one has about 19,000 beneficiaries, 20 billion spent, but they had Moroto was part of the Moroto, Nakapiripirit, Napak, all those were part of, and Amdat were part of the pilot. And for them, they were lucky they started at 60 years. We were taking people who are 60 years and above because they were more vulnerable at that stage. Teso sub-region, about 27,000 people and 29 billion being spent. They also had pilot beneficiaries in Katakwi. We had in Katakwi, yes, I think it was Katakwi, which is the main pilot district. Is that okay? All right. So Bunyoro sub-region, you can have, we have about 14,800 and 14 billion has been spent. Also there we didn't have any pilot. They are all new entrants. Ankwale sub-region, we had 17,000 beneficiaries, 17 billion spent, and all the districts, you can see the numbers are small. They are all new entrants in the program starting 2018. Then this is the Kigezi sub-region. They are also new entrants, 19,000 beneficiaries, 17 billion so far spent in the manifesto period. Rwenzori sub-region, 24,000 beneficiaries. These ones had some, Chenjojo was one of the pilots, and Kegegwa. So that raises the number to that, and 29 billion has been spent. Now this is Central region, Kampala and Buganda region. All of it is there. In total, about 57,200 beneficiaries. Over 61 billion shillings has been spent in the manifesto period alone. Only Kivoga and KYANKWANZI were the original pilot districts. So that explains how they are doing. I think they are doing well. The numbers are bigger in the Central region. Yes, so that's how the performance has been in terms of numbers and beneficiaries we are paying. Now, what are the key challenges we are having? One, in the current financial year, we have had some challenge. This program, we spend about 121 billion every year. This year, we got only 100 billion. We have a shortfall of 21 billion. We are still negotiating with the Minister of Finance and Parliament and His Excellency the President to make sure that we get a supplementary so that we don't carry arrears. Enrollment of eligible persons is also a challenge because of inadequate funding. People are clamoring. You can see the numbers are small in some of the districts. People want to lower the age. So that's an issue which is being discussed. And recently we got a directive from His Excellency to study, I think, Karamoja region. There is a cry that they should go back to 60. Even now we should continue targeting people at 60 because we are taking them also to 80 now, except those who are already on. So those who are turning 60 now can't come on, but we have been directed to study that and give a report. We have areas of 5.2 billion, which was accumulated some time ago, and we are still pressing finance to provide that, because the more we delay, the older persons pass on, so they may not eat their money if we delay longer. National ID related exclusions, some older persons find it difficult to go and register for national ID. Because the national ID, when it was embarked on by NIRA, some older person said, I'm 80 years, why do I go for the national ID? Now, when the program came and said we needed a national ID, so it is more difficult for some of them. The other challenge, you have a national ID exclusion. Some people registered the wrong ages. A person who is born in 1930, they put there 1960. So the person says, no, I know I am 80 years and above, but the details they gave to NIRA show they are very low. And I think you have those cases in your areas. People keep coming to the pay point. They say, when are you registering me? But because of that requirement, it is a challenge. So we are grappling with that. We are working with NIRA, but it requires some money to make sure that these older persons are helped. And I think we would appeal that you mobilize those who have relatives who can afford. They should help, children should help their parents at least to acquire that change, because it takes over 200,000 for you to go through the effective change, especially date of birth. They are very cautious on that. Demand to increase benefit amount. Also, we have been paying 25,000 since 2013, 2014. So older people are saying now we need to increase the value of this grant, maybe at least to 35,000. And that discussion is still going on. Now, delayed death reporting by local government staff and community members is a big issue, because it leads us to pay out money when the person has passed on, and we are denying the program resources. And here we appeal to all of you leaders that you help us so that we strengthen this death reporting. Sometimes it is concealed. People are very sympathetic. They see an older person has died, has small children they were looking at. They say, let them not report. The money continues what? Coming, and it helps these people. But it is wrong and it is illegal. So we think we appeal to you leaders to emphasize that as you mobilize people, that when a person has passed on, let us exit the program. Now, what are the key impacts? We have seen this program, this 25,000 shillings, you and me, you may look at it as very small, you go for your lunch and it is finished. But for these older persons, it has done very many things. I think you are the ones who are witnesses. You shouldn't blow our own whistle. What we know, it has impacts on poverty. Studies which have been done shows that at least there has been an 11% reduction in those households of those people who receive this money in terms of poverty. Children in those households, there has been increased attendance in school. Because the child would not go to school because they have no pen. The child is hungry, has no food. The old woman has not bought any food. So, but now when they have that, the children keep going to school and attendance has improved for those children in those households. Impact on nutrition has also been noticed. Very few older persons now can't afford to eat 2 meals once they are getting this money. At least that has been proved that at least it has increased by 11%. There is also health for older persons. They can go now at least to a health center. They tell you that even food, by the way, nutrition is also treatment. So you find somebody who has a back problem before, now he tells you the back is no longer paining because they are eating something. They can buy greens, they can buy some protein. So the situation improves. We have noticed that, and we have documented evidence. Their self-esteem has also improved. You go and see older persons telling you now, I can also be invited to a wedding meeting, which was not in the past. People, we have seen households where we used to go, you find there is no way leading to the household. But with time now, you find the path has, the road leading to an older person's. Why? Because there is something. People know when they pass there, they can take a cup of tea. The old woman has some sugar. Some of them tell us that their grandchildren and their children never used to visit. But now, some who stay in Kampala, they send the grandchildren during the holidays, go and stay with the old woman. Why? Because the old woman can buy some fish, can buy some sugar, and the children will what? Some tell you vivid examples. My house, my heart had no door, but now I have a door, there is security. So their self-esteem, clothing, they have improved there. Some are even competing, I think, to become LC1, chairperson or secretaries. So I think that's what we are getting from them if you hear their stories. Multiplier effects in the economy, those ones are also known. I know you have markets during paydays, and we have seen all of those. So you will allow me, I think, to almost stop there. What we need from you really is to help us address the issue of death reporting. And also, I think you will have to come in as leaders to help us fight where some bad seeds are coming in, people trying to defraud some of these older persons. Some are officials who are involved in implementation at the local level. So we need you to take keen interest and monitor this program. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present these programs to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We are sorry we can't have sufficient time for all the presentations and for you to exhaust them. But I think our members who are here, they are able to get an overview of what is happening. And if any of you needs additional information, I think it would be best to have their contact and you contact them as and when you can. Pardon, questions? No. We shall have questions at a later time because we want also to bring in the Secretary General of the party so that he makes presentation and you ask before he leaves. So course, make a choice. You must always be able to put priorities together and get first thing first and next. We have two options now, right? And listen to me carefully. The Secretary General of the party is here. He's going to Hoima to receive the president. So should we request him to go and get this president and keep on with the questions? Order, please. So let's request the Secretary General.
Today, we are privileged to have one of the senior political leaders in the country, who is none other than our Secretary General for the Vice Party, the Right Honorable Richard Godon. Right. On behalf of the Office of the President that supervises the implementation of the manifesto through the manifesto implementation unit, since my brother is here, or Nadi, who will also come here officially, allow me to welcome you and thank you for sparing time to come and be one of our keynote speakers in this retreat. Right Honorable Secretary General, before us is a team of NRM district chairperson from the whole country, and also a team of members of our President's office whom we work with, serving at the cadre level of deputy resident district commissioners and deputy resident city commissioners. We organized this as a one-week retreat, and I want to say that it was intentional because we very much know that we are moving into a cycle where our people must be armed with the information, but the most important information is how have we been able to move on the social contract that we had with the citizens of this country in 2021. We have invited different technical officers across the government, from all the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, come and share with us the implementation status on the different sectors and the different commitments that appear in this contract. And I want to say that we are proceeding well. Those who have been here have been able to deliver their part. And I also want to say that this forum has also been very instrumental in validating the information that comes from these people. I also want to tell you, Right Honorable Secretary General, that the chairpersons are not part of our mainstream government. And for us, we feel that much as there is a need, that they need to come to the mainstream government in as far as monitoring implementation. But part of these forums also make us be accountable to them as owners of the party. By being here, they are able to appreciate us as agents in the government what has been done. And that should be able to arm them better to deal with the challenges of mobilizing for us, mobilizing for the country on the next level of the cycle. So we are in our, is it third or second day? We are in our third day being here. So we are very, very excited that you were able to spare some time and come and share with us. First of all, we invited you here, not only as the Secretary General, but also as a key resource person, a keynote speaker, where we want to share with you, for these members to appreciate the relevance of the manifesto in a multi-party dispensation. There could be other issues, but you are being here first, is to deal with us on the relevance, on sharing with us the relevance of the manifesto in as far as multi-party dispensation governance is concerned. So on behalf of my minister, my permanent secretary, and on my own behalf as the director, I take pleasure to welcome you and thank you for sparing time to come and join us and share with us what you share with us. Allow me now, without much ado, invite the director of NADI, Kano Bogota, to come to welcome you officially, to subsequently invite you to deliver your message. I thank you. Asante sana. Karibu sana. Over to you.
Esteemed guest of honor and the lecture of opportunity presenter, Right Honorable Richard Todong, the Secretary General of the mighty National Resistance Movement Party, distinguished directors, commissioners here, esteemed audience, ladies and gentlemen, comrades. Let's start with the vibe, not so. Yes. So, Mama Jew, Commander-in-Chief, General 7, Jew, Chief of Defense Forces, General Mohosi, Kenegaba, the General commanding the mighty movers who move things forward, Secretary General Richard Tobon, Ebu Tukaka, Kaeni, General Sir, it's with great pressure and pleasure that I welcome you to your ideological maker, ideological home of National Leadership Institute, KYANKWANZI. Before you are participants, mainly the chairpersons of the mighty party and the residence district commissioners and resident city commissioners. We are giving them a hybrid of ideological input while at the same time they are reviewing the progress of the manifesto of the great party. We are very much blessed that you, the people, thanks to your work, you've given us great leadership in the name of Commander-in-Chief Yoweri Museveni, particularly in the UPDF. We are the most fighting armed contingent on the African continent. And we've been doing so victoriously since the 1960s. As the FORNASA, as National Resistance Army, and now as you yourselves renamed us, the Uganda People's Defense Forces. We are at your service. We are subject to civilian authority. And because of your commitment, because of your patriotism, we are advancing to do your will. And we are here to continue with the conversation on how Uganda should be led to achieve the historical mission of this generation, as we have been sharing perspectives about it. So, in the military, when you are commanded by a lion, there is no way you can fail. We thank the people of Uganda because you have continuously voted for us a commander-in-chief that has ensured continuous victories by the Uganda People's Defense Forces, supported by you, the people to whom the UPDF belongs.
Asante sana.
You are the originators, especially when you formally come here at the National Leadership Institute. You are the originators, the distillers, and the conceptualizers of our great ideology, which has enabled successful implementation of Uganda government programs. So it is in that vein that we take singular honor and privilege to welcome you, sir, so that you can share words of wisdom with our participants and also with our faculty. Among our faculty is Lieutenant Colonel Yabaika. Where are you? And they are as members of the NARI faculty and staff. They are out pursuing assignments as assigned. Sir, with those introductory remarks, we are blessed to have you in our midst, and this is a great day at NARI. Please, we can't say much when a big gun is around. Karibuni sana. Karibu sana. Ongeza tena. Shukran.
Thank you, thank you. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for this wonderful reception. I need to recognize the member of the Central Executive Committee of the party who is here, Honorable Dr. James Tweyo. I'm sure he has given his lecture to you. Not yet. I recognize the Office of the President, and in particular the Department of Manifesto Implementation, headed by Comrade Will Bashasha. Thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing. And I also recognize the director of the Institute and all the men and women that you command. Thank you for making this Institute an international venue for many people who who thirst for knowledge. I'm sorry that I'm late. I was supposed to be here by 8 in the morning. When I was starting my journey, I'm sure you must have heard something about Kawempe North. So I had to pass office to sign some documents. By 6, there was no one in the office, so I had to wait up to about 7:30. Then I started my journey a little late. So I'm sorry for the delays. But I'm happy that we are here. I'm happy for 2 reasons. One, that the Office of the President has invited the chairpersons of the National Resistance Movement Party in the district. May I see who are here? Please, can you stand up? I request. And we see. I see the chairpersons of the district. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for coming. I also recognize the resident district commissioners. I don't call you deputies. You never know.
You know, when you keep calling yourself deputy, you'll die a deputy. We know you are here representing your offices. So the RDC is in full capacity here. I was asked to talk about the manifesto, the importance of the manifesto in a multi-party political dispensation. It is like asking a reverend to speak about the Bible. But it's also good to remind ourselves of the basic knowledge we have acquired over the years, whether as individuals or as groups. There is something beautiful in life, that we are born as individuals in our families, we are given names, we start learning the basics from the family, from our parents, we get outside of the family circle, we get into institutions of either of religion, of schools, knowledge is pumped at us, we leave the preliminary foundation of nursery, primary, we go to secondary, we keep acquiring knowledge. Now, when you get to senior level, you start having contradictions in the knowledge you acquire. The traditional knowledge versus the formal knowledge. And then as you continue, there is the third one which we don't see. The grand norm, the law of nature. Because everything we learn and everything we are competes against nature. Because God gave us powers over His creation, but did not give us the passwords to everything that He has created. So every time we see the wonders of God, we only imagine it within the knowledge we have acquired and consumed, either traditionally or formally. Now, that is a topic for another day. It's a deeper topic that the school can take you through. It's about philosophy. The second thing is institutionalization. That human beings are individuals, but individuals put together needs to be managed in a way that they should also accept to be managed. Because individuals come together in different forms, in different manners, and when they ask to belong as a group of individuals, there must be rules that manages that group. Because within that grouping, there are so many variables. Human evolution. But I want to pick it from the post-independence period. Because if we go backward, it will make the lecture very long. But above all, politics is a competition, or a politicians are individuals that form political institutions. Political institution stands for basics. If I may write here, political institutions, we are not just in politics for any other reason. We are in politics for create social and economic changes. Even before you get to the blocks, there were social changes that happens in life. Man changed from the primitive stage to the slave trade period, to the feudal system, to pre-capitalist system, and to the capitalist system. Now, all these stages of social changes were playing around with these factors of production. Because factor of production X change man from one stage to another, one stage to another, one stage to another. The more advanced you are as a society depends on how you have been able to manipulate facts. Here, under socialism, in the 18th century, Karl Marx wrote a critique of capitalism. And he said, Factors of production should not belong to individuals. These are communal in nature. Land should belong to everyone. Entrepreneurship should belong to everybody. Labor should not be monetized. Capital should belong to everybody. And that was why the Far East adopted that theory of thinking. And that was what created a wall, ideological walls. So for a long time, the world was moving this and that, until even the colonization of Africa was because Europeans were looking for capital, were looking for labor. Are we together? Now, when all that was done, the challenge that we got before the formation of our different political parties was that before independence, all that we were doing was mirroring the interests of the Europeans, because we were under colonization. But in Africa, they messed up this thinking by introducing a second phase of event, which was religion. Now, religiously, these divides started coming to Africa in terms of different representations. Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, currently they're even becoming the charismatic something, the born again. There are so many groups. All of them are trying to interpret God and the Bible to human beings who were created by God. Just like political parties are breaking down into many groups to interpret the meanings and purpose of capital, labor, land to the people who should own them. Are we together? Now, in 1962, when we got independence, for those who are old enough, by that time when Uganda got independence, just like many other African countries, it was after the Europeans had realized that human labor was no longer profiting them. That the slave trade was no longer a profit venture. Because during the age of Renaissance, rebirth of knowledge in Europe, there were discoveries of steam engines, that machines would make what human beings can do in a month, machines can do it in one day. So it became cost effective to substitute human labor with what? That was how we got independence, because slave trades were no longer needed. The slave traders they were making losses. We used to sing that song, if you may recall. I'm saying this so that I tickle your brain as we go forward. Slave, 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 in a work day and night, planting sugar. As if you were there. That was the lamentation. You are planting sugar and tea. The products were sugar and tea. Those were the plantations in South America. Our grandparents were taken to plant sugarcane and to plant tea, because the industries in Europe were taking sugar and tea and cotton. They improve them and sell to the rest of the world. And that was the triangular trade that we were part of. But when they discovered Africa, and Africa was colonized, they realized that instead of having plantations in South America, the African plantations can be easier because it's within the tropics and in the center of the globe. So it is more cost effective to colonize this continent and use it as a source for raw material that we need to feed our industries. And Africa was colonized in stages. It was accidentally colonized, by the way. The reason was, when there was a war between the Romans and the Turks, that war blocked the European trade route to the Far East. The present day Turkey, you remember the story of Constantinople and all that. That the Portuguese explorers who are moving and working together with the European traders started navigating the coast of Africa. The chairman and our president wrote about this in one of his books, very elaborately. I wish you can get that and you read. They started navigating the coast of Africa from around here. They went around Cameroon, this, came down up to when they got the Cape of Good Hope. And the story was that the monsoon wind blew them. You remember that story? Yes. Far east. Until they landed somewhere here. But as they were moving, they were seeing something very interesting here. A dark continent full of vegetation and full of primitive people. And they realized this, instead of wasting time up to here, we can investigate what is in the interior of this continent. So they landed at the coast of East Africa and started moving into the interior. When they started moving as explorers first, the explorers were the intelligence officers, like CMI and ISO. They went and realized that Africa was organized in societies of chiefs and kingdoms, with the fighting powers, wild, but they were primitive. So the only way to colonize Africa was to bring religion to polarize this hostility. They were very wise, by the way. In history, we say the flag followed the cross. Explorers first, religion second, colonization third. So religion came, galvanized our societies, started teaching these kings how primitive our culture is. Our God is not the real God. I'm sorry for those who are Christians. We are in a political school. You Google, you have smartphones. You Google the letter of King Leopold over evangelization of DRC Congo. You'll read and know what I'm talking about. He was writing to his people that those niggers already have their God. Don't waste time introducing our God to them. All we need is to have mental captivity. Once that was done, we started believing that there is a God outside the gods of Africa. In my culture then, in the old days, people used to worship mountains. When the rain delays, you see elders going to do some things on the hill. The following day, rain comes. Even yours. You see, we are there. But they came and said that one is primitive, is evil. When sickness comes, someone goes to the forest, you get some leaves, you mix things, a child drinks, the child is okay. They say, no, that concoction is not good. So all those, our medicine, our religion, our culture, our everything was made inferior. Now they came and imported theirs on this. As this was going on, this advanced team were trying to enter China over the same. Because India used to take a lot of spices from Europe. No, the Europeans would get spices from India to use during winter and also to take to China. So this became the trade routes. You read the history, there is a trade route that comes from China to the Middle East, then to Europe. The Chinese are trying to build the Belt and Road Initiative through it. The old ancient trade route. Now, this was the center. They realized religion was good for Africa, but to China, they started by entering through Hong Kong. That is why there is a problem between Hong Kong and mainland China up to now, because Hong Kong, which is part of an island in China, was colonized first by the British. And they took it as a base. So everybody there became a European like Africans. But the traditional Chinese who are in the interior of China, the dynasty, the Chinese dynasty, the Qing, the Ling, those dynasties of China, you'll read them later on, had built the Chinese culture. That the Chinese did not want anything to do with the Europeans. They had their language, they could read and write, they had their own religion. So there was nothing that the Europeans could use to penetrate China. What did they do? They introduced opium to mess up these people. You remember the Opium War? Read about the history of the Opium War. Africa was religion, China was opium. That was how dangerous they were. Anyway, that was history. But coming forward, back to what we were talking about, I'm coming to manifesto. We got independence. The independence was a rushed independence. Our country was handed over back to us to manage. Now, the foundation of the country was really shaken, that Uganda got independence on a shaken foundation. That the British, through their administration, yesterday I was meeting the British ambassador, and I told her that the British created problems in Uganda, in the sense that they wanted to model the Westminster's administrative model to Uganda, where the king becomes the head of government and then other people compete for position of prime ministership. That is what is happening in England. And when they came and occupied Uganda, that was what they were using to build Buganda into that. And that was what created the problems. And that problem still exists up to now. When we were in the universities, there was a paper we used to discuss, and we had never gotten the answer. The Buganda question in Uganda politics. Discuss. And then you go into the nitty-gritty. And that was a big issue. So you know the history of Uganda. You know how we struggled. I'm moving forward so that I come to exactly what I want to communicate. In 1961-62, when we got independence, there were three parties: UPC, DP, and what? Kabaka Yaka. The Democratic Party was assumed to be loyal to the Catholics. UPC was closer to, and in London, the British, they claim the Protestant is their faith. And that was how they used Protestants to enter Mengo, but Mengo again became closer to the Catholics. There is a bit of complex there. You need to study the politics of religion. And that is why all those good hills around Bulange were occupied by those two big religions. The other side is Namirembe. This one is Rubaga. There is some politics there. Now, what created the problem was that when the British left, there was a promise that Buganda would have total federal system of administration. Are we together? The Democratic Party openly told Mengo that the federal system will not be good for the unification of Uganda. And these were mainly elite Bagandas who are in the Democratic Party. So they were looked at as traitors to Buganda. That was how Mengo moved and signed an alliance with UPC, because UPC promised them everything. I'm sure those who are old enough, you know what I'm talking about. Now, when that happened, this alliance was short-lived between UPC and KY. In 1966, UPC decided to abrogate the constitution, and they changed. You remember the story of the pigeonhole constitution? They amended the constitution overnight. Somebody wrote another constitution. The following morning, members of parliament were going to parliament all over Dubai. You go to your pigeonhole, you find a new constitution for the Republic of Uganda. There was chaos. And that was what spark of everything that we started. In that confusion, Obote became Obote. He started this idea of move to the left. He started being radical, forming cooperatives and blah, blah, blah. Now, to the British, the colonialists, they were looking at Obote as someone who was moving back to the socialist bloc. You remember that story? And that was around the time we were moving to the Cold War period. The Cold War was that after the United Nations was formed, when the Second World War ended, the Europeans were advised not to fight. But physical fighting was not there. But what they call the Cold War started. Sanctions, killings, hatred, hate speeches, this and that. And that time, their eyes were in Africa. I also invite you to read the history of Africa in the 70s. How many presidents, prime ministers of Africa were assassinated in the 70s? Simply because they were assumed to be moving to the left. Are we together? During the Cold War, that was when Patrice Lumumba of DRC Congo was assassinated. Because the CIA and the British thought he was moving DRC Congo to the Eastern Bloc. Amin was sponsored by the CIA and the British to overthrow Obote. Because Amin worked in the King African Rifle and was already in the British Army. So when they came back home and Obote was trying to behave like that, they were building a revolt internally against Obote. And Amin was given all the options, everything. Even the Bagandas received him when he took over very fast, because they thought now he has counter what Obote did to the Akabaka, not knowing what they were receiving. And this went on until 1978, 79. Now, but because of the story of federalism, which created a problem in the 60s, the liberators decided, no, when we take over government from Amin, we need a Muganda to cool down the temperature in Uganda. Not Binaize, Lule was identified. That now, as a Muganda, go and become a president, cool down the situation so that we have a peaceful country. Lule came in 1-2 weeks. Then they said, no, Lule, you're going to blow up this country again. Let us get a liberal Muganda. Binaize was the choice. He was a lawyer in London. Spoke very Polish English. He came. How many months? I want you to know these things. It might be speaking to some of the things you see these days. After that, by that time there was the military commission. There was a very powerful man in the military commission called Mr. Paul Mwanga. That man was the law and the law was him. We went for the elections. He usurped powers of the Electoral Commission, brought it to the Military Commission. They started gerrymandering constituencies, determining who should be a winner, who should not be a winner. That is why the president is very concerned with what happened to Kawempe North. Because it speaks volume to the history of this country. But DP is extremely unlucky. That was the time DP was becoming a party in government. But unfortunately, UPC completely swept them off by force. You hear you have been announced as a member of parliament representing Democratic Party. You go for swearing in, you find the UPC person sitting, waiting to be sworn in. Yes. By that time, our elder, Mzee Crispus Kayonga, was elected from Kasese, I think. He told me he did not even reach Kampala because he knew there was going to be, he was changed already. Paul Mwanga was sitting at Nile Mansion, look at the list of who was elected. Remove this and put so and so. That was Uganda. Now that led to the foundation of the struggle of NRM. Our national chairman said, I cannot tolerate this. We have to fight to bring social order in this country. So there are already issues. But as they were fighting, there are issues of peace and stability for the country, issue of democracy, peace and stability, social and economic development, unity of the country, human resource development, and others, financial resources, everything the country needed. Now imagine you're a leader, you have taken over government with young officers in 1986. You have a country which has no constitution, no order, no nothing, from zero. God has really blessed us with this man called Museveni. They started creating a foundation for national unity of this country. The first thing was disband all political parties because they were the source of our disunity. Under the movement system, let us preach unity to Ugandans. We are all the same. Whoever wants to be elected should come on individual merit. Don't represent your party, because parties were our problems. And I'm sure many of you here were elected during that time, based on your merits. Issues of development, we need a new constitution. That was how the 1995 constitution was put in place. The 1995 constitution now gave powers of governance to three structures of administration: judiciary, executive, and legislature. And we started reconstructing our books as a country. As we were moving slowly under the movement system, building unity, in the early 90s, boom, IMF World Bank came with conditions. You remember those conditions? Structural adjustment policy, all those things. Now you are building a country from zero. You hardly have civil servants. You hardly have a military which is grounded enough. But IMF and World Bank is saying you're oversubscribing governance. You reduce your manpower. To me, that was a strategic blow to Uganda and many African countries, because you are reducing your force from 150,000 soldiers to about 20 to 30,000. How will this defend your country? You are reducing civil service. How will you run a government? But it was a condition. You remember by that time we started muchaka everywhere. They are saying, no, you are militarizing administration. That should be civilian-led. Don't bring muchaka in administration. They knew what they were talking because partly our social discipline at the moment came from this. If our citizens were taken through that military drill then, by now we would have different types of citizens. So we abandoned all that, we dropped all this. Then World Bank, okay, now that you have done, we are giving you money, but the money is strictly for conditions. Do water, do roads, do this, but they should not exceed this number. So you find yourself constrained within the demands of. But when finally they said, open up political space, I was a commissioner in 2001. We moved around the country asking for views of Ugandans to take back Uganda to multi-party political dispensation. We went around and 80% of Ugandans were saying we don't want parties back. But because of pressure from World Bank and IMF, they were saying if you don't open up political space, we are not giving you money. And by that time, our revenue base was very low. You see how they control you? So we open up political space. Now, when we open up political space, by that time, what the World Bank and IMF call the neoliberal systems, that discussions of politics were no longer on factors of production, but on accountability, democracy, socialization, association, happiness, irrelevancies only. So political parties have started to be formed on this. And this is what even led to the formation of jihads. Because we are derailed from the core values of politics, which should look at factors of production. We are looking at human happiness, socialization, democracy, accountability, human rights. Whoa. Recently they were bringing homosexuality. Now, we are dealing with the poverty, illiteracy, backwardness, land rights, and all this. You are saying we should, those are not important. Look at, people should be happy even when they're like that. It can never happen. Europe did not develop like that. America did not develop like that. America is a democracy of 300 years. Uganda is less than 100 when we got independence. You can't compare us to that. We need to do much more than what we are doing. But anyway, because of this, when we became a political party, and the first election we went to, it was in 2006, under multi-party dispensation, our thinking became more polished as a party. Because now we became an organization that should think in a revolutionary way. So we started saying, remember around that time, our manifestos from 26 up to 2021, all our manifestos that we have sponsored. One, we start by looking at the history of Uganda, looking at what Uganda was before colonization. We looked at Uganda during colonization. We looked at Uganda after colonization. We looked at Uganda between independence and 1986 when NRM came. And then we looked at Uganda that NRM inherited. And how is Uganda now? And which Uganda do we want by 2040? I'm sure you have read Vision 2040. Yes. Now, Vision 2040 is divided and crafted into national development plans. The national development plans, now we are implementing, I think, the fourth one. There is NDP 1, NDP 2, NDP 3, NDP 4. Now this, the NDP 1 was looking at more of infrastructure development. Roads, bridges, electricity, peace and security, and others. It flipped over to NDP 2. From NDP 2 to NDP 3 now, we are looking at what we call the software. These were hardware issues, software issues. We will look at social programs, education, health, water, poverty. NDP 2 and 3 mainly focus at that. Most of the programs of government were focusing at social programs. And NDP 4 now is even intensifying that. To see that our manifesto and our program is directed towards the concerns of the Wananchi. So that we have to compare this. We have Vision 2040, we have NDP, we have a manifesto, and then we have the ministerial policy statements. We have the district development plans. Now, all these documents must be aligned. Are we together? Yes, sir. And that is why you are here. Because you belong to all this. The vision is Vision 2040. How do we get to Vision 2040? Through district development plans, through ministerial policy statements, manifesto, NDPs. And these are costed. Now, for you as an administrator, you need to have all these documents and you need to read them. As a reverend, this must be your Bible. That you're in your district, you're fully in charge of your district. One, you know the administrative units of your district. You know the population density of your district. You know the characteristics of your district in terms of production, in terms of crime, in terms of any other thing. If someone drops in your district today that I'm in Kabarole, my chairman will say, Mr. Secretary General, you're welcome. You know, when you go to visit prison, the first person you find at the gate will even tell you, before asking what your name is, say, we have 400 inmates. Of the 400, 320 are female. These ones are male. One escaped yesterday. They give you the brief. So when I come to your district, what is the brief you give me about the party in your district? What is the brief you're giving to the Minister of Presidency as an RDC when the minister comes to your district? That is why you are here, to harmonize all this. But I know you know what is in our manifesto. Our manifestos are focusing at providing social services. I just want to give you 3 as examples. Whatever I'm saying, I've written. I'm going to leave the paper here for you.
Asante sana.
When you have a country like Uganda, this country like Uganda, you are supposed to analyze it in terms of politics, economy, and social issues. Now, you who is analyzing it, you know all these things are important. But you need to know what is called prioritization. Because of the limited resources you have. Should I start with stabilizing the politics or stabilizing the economy? If I do the politics, will the politics fit the economy well and the economy bring social order? Or if I stabilize the economy, will this stabilize the politics? I want you to discuss this in your groups, Mr. Director. These comrades should discuss, should we concentrate on the politics that fits the economy or the economy that should fit the politics? You know, in Western world, 80% of jobs are in the private sector, but in Africa, 80% of jobs are in government. That is a very dangerous sign. Government should have 20%, private sector should have 80%. This is how developed world looks. But in Africa, 80% government, 20% private sector. Now we tax the private sector, the 20%, too much, that they even feel like running away, and you are starved. When you are starved, you start fighting over the little that drops in. It's called corruption. Then the ordinary person down here gets zero. So how should our thinking start? The economy to fit into politics, or we think politics that we have been thinking politics. We think little about economy. So you as an expert, how do you dissect Uganda? Politically, economically, socially, it will come by itself. Because one thing that the president explained is that, and we saw this during the discussion of rationalization. I don't know whether you are following. Some of these debates as leaders you'll have to follow. That when we are discussing rationalization, Western Uganda, the discussion was on dairy cooperation. How do we protect the dairy cooperation from being rationalized? In Buganda, it was coffee. In Toro, it was tea. A bit of Bugiso, coffee. What else? Busoga, and about here, fish and sugarcane. Huh? What have I missed? Huh? I'm coming. Now, problem started around Teso, Karamoja, Lango, actually, West Nile. Even Bunyoro, they were talking of oil, but not much. Now, the whole of this block, what products do we have for the market? Are we together? Lango can talk of cereals, because I know you have about 20 factories for seed oil. Seeds, soybeans, sunflowers, sim. Lango can boost that. Karamoja. Now, these are very serious issues as leaders. You better take this and have time to discuss this. That when we produce coffee, you produce milk, they produce tea, fish is here, sugarcane is here. How do we link our products with one another? Then we might say, okay, since these are cash crops, either we introduce this to these areas, or we encourage these people to produce what is lacking here for a balance of. That is what leadership should be thinking now. And it is reflected on the political thinking of the country. And you are the political elites. I want to challenge you to have your syndicate sessions brainstorm on this. Because we are sitting with issues of unemployment, corruption. It's very embarrassing. Unemployment, corruption, what else? Corruption. You're going to meet this in the next election. Land grabbing, environment, poor roads. The list is endless, okay? Now, all this, for example, unemployment is because of 2 or 3 reasons. One, our education system was very poor. That we have been pumping knowledge which are not applicable in the market to our children. You find someone speaking good English, he or she has a degree in development studies. He or she has a degree in English and Luganda. Now there is a factory in the neighborhood. The factory is looking for accountant, a carpenter, electrician, but there is a degree all over here. There are degrees, English in history, English in what? Gender study. So we need to change this into the skills that the market requires. And that is why I applaud the president for introducing the industrial hubs.
Asante sana.
Because that is helping to reform the young people who got raw knowledge, to retune them to better knowledge. And so when you look at Uganda and you start discussing, that tells our problem. So politically, for us politically, at the political center, our thinking is straight. That when we think of education, we look at education from the foundation of nursery, actually from home. How is a child being taught at home by the parents? Before the child comes to a UPE school, USE school, university or other tertiary education. When the child gets here, what knowledge should the child get to be able to get to the market? Because here the basic foundational knowledge are okay. Primary you can teach you see, primary school I've been telling people, in the past where there were no schools, you find neighbors in the village who don't even know each other. But with the schools and parishes, every child in that parish has to go to a school. You'll get to know everybody around your village. And two, the school teaches you certain skills of life that you might not know. Issues of hygiene, discipline, care, vaccination, immunization. Those are things you need to grow up with while doing. That when tomorrow you become, because UPE is not to teach you to become the first in the world, no. It's giving you basic knowledge for life. Tomorrow you become a wife or a husband. You will be a wife or a husband with the knowledge that can run your home. You want to be a farmer, a trader. You will know the value of money. You will know exchange rate. You will know where to go and buy what for a profit because you have the basic knowledge. So the foundational knowledge to the population is very key that is being provided. So we think through education in that way. We think through health in that way. That health we look at more through preventive health than curative health. Because when you preach prevention, you stop 80% of the diseases from attacking people and you reduce hospital admissions. And the hospitals remain areas for elderly people and our mothers who go for maternal health care. And children that will be going for vaccination. Because we are preaching behavioral change to young people, they don't get sick anyhow. We are preaching hygiene. We are preaching sleeping under mosquito nets. We are preaching diet. Once you practice this and you do exercise, why would someone between 16 years and 45 years fall sick? If you don't fall sick because of behavior or your manners, that you go there, you get gonorrhea. Sorry to use that word. And then you run to the hospital. You get drunk, you sleep by the roadside, you are bitten by a mosquito, you have malaria, you go to the hospital. That is how we think through health. So corporates, these are the areas I thought I should share with you. But finally, the challenge we have is that you need to know, and I want leadership per capita in our country. What we call leadership per capita. We have villages, we have parishes, we have sub-counties, we have districts, municipalities, cities, and national level, okay? Let me say NRM and local government. At every village, we have 30 leaders. And then there are others. If you add 30 plus, imagine religious leaders, opinion leaders, witch doctors, at the village level. Clan leaders. How many leaders are in a village? Women leaders, youth leaders, elders. How many leaders do we have in a village? If you add them plus the local government leaders. I would request one time just go to a village as a sample, call whoever is a leader in that village. And you see how many leaders you have in a village. And then you ask these leaders, with all these numbers, why do we still have problems in this village? And yet leaders are there. You will find the problems are coming from leaders. At the parish the same, at the sub-county the same, district, up to the top. How many households do we have in Uganda? About 9 million, according to UBOS. And you'll realize that each and every household might be having a leader. So what is this leader doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? Why do we still have all these problems? I told my MPs that if you go to a constituency, the first point of entry should be at LC1 office. You call your LC1, ask the LC1, what are the cases that are always reported to you as a chairman of the village? Burglary, theft, domestic violence, defilement, rape, assault, land issues, land transactions, because they sign, they move with their stamps in their bags. Now, if you know these are the common cases, and then you sit with the LCs and those leaders in that village, you design a program to sensitize the village, because now you know the common problems of the village. And that is why the president keeps saying we are social doctors. A doctor should examine a patient. You listen to the story of the patient very well, because some patients are also very stubborn. He might ignore the disease, the real disease. He'll tell you something wrong. You listen to the story, and as you're listening, you're also observing his behavior. You're seeing the skin, you're seeing the eyes, you're observing. And then when the person finishes talking, you say, okay, I have heard you, but let us go to the lab. I want to check A, B, C, D. Because you have observed something he's not telling you, the lab will tell you. When the result comes from the lab, you say, yes, I have confirmed A, B, C, D. With this, I give you this medication for 1 week. 2 times 3 per day. If you go and do 3 times 2, that is wrong. Or 3 times 1. It should be 2 times 3 per day. And then in the 3rd day, you come for review. How I wish leaders can do that with the community. That you go and talk to people, you examine them, you advise them, then you say, I'm giving you 1 month, I will come back to check what you have been able to do. And that is what the president is doing, checking PDM, what it is doing. So friends, I will be ready to take questions, but thank you so much. I thought I should share this with you, that a manifesto is something very, very important to a political party and to a country. It's not only a social contract, but it is our commitment. We are in leadership to implement what is in our manifesto. There are questions that we have been asked many times. The relationship between the party and government. We are working on it. It's improving. But we thank government for the goodwill of understanding that the relationship is about the principal and agent relationship. The party is the principal, government is an agent. Because the government implements the party manifesto. It is the manifesto of the party that is handed over to government. And that is why we have a manifesto review committee in the office of the president, to make sure that the country is in the right direction because of our promise that we make to the people. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
So one time, the president of this country giving a press conference somewhere in made a remark. Uganda can't so for there. I think from the ones of the Secretary General, if we can make sense, but we put across Uganda is of quality to there. The vice mayor. No, I didn't ask how much. The vice mayor. Yes, sir. When you say too much, I didn't ask how much. So, right, Honorable Secretary General, thank you so much. Let's put our hands together in a very, very thunderous way to appreciate what we have received here. Asante sana. Ongeza tena. So, here we are. Secretary, I think there was an issue coming in from the chairperson. And I have requested your parents to get organized by putting down the issue that you wanted to raise with the Secretary. Because we may not allow each and every chairperson